Now let's talk about some very practical and realistic things, small things that you can do to change and improve your mindset. And so the first is a concept of value awareness. And at the most basic level, we've already talked about how your product or your company delivers some sort of value and improvements to your customers. And so all we're talking about here is becoming more aware of the value that you offer. First, figure out what improvements your product can deliver, and we've already talked about that here in the SMART sales system. Some salespeople just aren't real clear on what the value is. If you know the product you sell and you know the features and functionality inside and out, but you don't know what improvements that could make for the prospect and what's in it for them and how the product helps them, then you aren't aware of the value that you offer. So the first step is to really just kind of figure out, okay, what is the value offered? And then you want to keep it in the front of your mind, because identifying it, but then forgetting it or not really, having it at the tip of your tongue or ever using that knowledge or thinking about it will only help you so much. The real benefit to identifying how your product helps is to have those benefits and improvements at the front of your mind. This will help your mindset, because let's go back to the product selling salesperson who's always just talking about his or her product and the features and whatnot. They're not talking about improvements. When that happens, that's where you get to that place where you might talk about your product a lot, get rejected a lot, because you're just pushing the product and you're not looking for people that need the product. And you might begin to have a low belief in what you sell and have self-doubt and be frustrated and not have a lot of confidence. Well, what can happen is that if you stay with the improvements at the front of your mind, then you become more confident and feel better that you have something great to offer. Let me give you an example. So just a random example, like if you sell a pillow that helps someone to sleep better at night, right? They go from tossing and turning to sleeping like a baby. The pillow is just a pillow, with certain dynamics and certain materials. And if you go around just talking about your pillow and people say, I don't need a pillow, I have 2 pillows already, I'm not looking to buy a pillow, then you will begin to feel less confident and less mentally strong about going up to the next person and talking about your pillow. But if you have in the front of your mind all the benefits of your special pillow, that it helps someone to sleep at night and it delivers all these different benefits, and you keep that at the front of your mind, you will have more confidence when it's time to go talk to the next person, because you'll become more value aware of what you sell. The next tip is to view yourself more as a helper. When you are out product selling, you are more of a taker, right? I want to talk to you about my product. I want to schedule a meeting with you to talk about my product. This is the company I work for. This is what we sell. This is how it works. This is how much it costs. I want to schedule a meeting with you to talk about what I sell and get you to buy what I sell, right? That's the product selling salesperson. So that's all being a taker, right? Me. I want, to take from you and get back to me, right? So that's not a helper, that's a taker. And I want you to shift to view yourself more as a helper, and you are a helper because what you sell delivers some sort of value, right? You could take just about any product and identify ways that it helps the buyer that buys from you. Now, true, not everybody needs the help that you have to offer. For example, if you're a doctor and you sell some sort of medicine, of course a doctor can be easily viewed as a helper. But picture a doctor trying to sell medicine to somebody that doesn't need the medicine, right? And the doctor tries to push it on them. Well, they're not, in that situation, they're not being a helper. They're being all about me, and they're trying to be a taker and take the person's money. But when you realize that the doctor should only be trying to provide the medicine and the help to the people that need that, that's when they become a helper. And that's what you should do with selling your product, is you should keep in mind that there are people out there that need what you sell, and your goal is just to find the people that need what you sell. Regarding your mental strength, the important thing is becoming value aware, to just realize that there is the slice of the pie where there are people that need what you sell, because you have value to offer and you're going to help them by providing your product to them. And what you're trying to do is just find those people. And sometimes you're going to end up talking to people that don't need what you have. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you did anything wrong. And it doesn't mean that they are a bad person because maybe they rejected you. And sometimes they maybe let you know that they weren't someone that needs what you have in a less polite way. And that might make you frustrated. But what you need to just keep in mind is that you're a helper and you're looking for people that need your help, and they just weren't that person. So there's nothing to get upset about. Maybe they could have been a little bit more respectful or a little bit more patient, polite, but that's okay. If sometimes they get sold to so much that if they were polite to everybody, they would waste so much time. So those are some things to keep in mind with being a helper. And you're just trying to help the people that you talk to. And even the people that are rude to you and that reject you, you're just trying to help them or see if they were someone that needs your help. When you realize this and you stop being a product pusher, you can stop being a taker. And that's probably the first step to becoming a helper, is to just stop being a product pusher and being a taker and all about me, me, me. So, by the way, one of the things that will help you with becoming and viewing yourself more as a helper is becoming more value aware. So one of these tips kind of leads to the other. When you have all the different ways that you help identified and you have those at the front of your mind, then it will be easier for you to view yourself as a helper because you're always thinking about the different ways that you help. The next thing that I want you to try to think about and do is eliminate using weak language. For example, it's very common for salespeople to say, I know you're busy right now. Or they may say, oh, I'm sorry for the interruption, or I'm sorry to bother you. I promise I will not take too much of your time. Did I catch you at a bad time? Oh, I'm really sorry to bother you. This is weak language. Now, this language does a couple things. It does something internally, it does something externally. The external thing that it does is this communicates a lot of weakness to the people you're trying to sell to. It will make them lose respect for you, less curious about what you have to offer, more guarded, think that you're a product pushing salesperson and that they need to get away from you and block you out. So that's what it does externally. This also will impact, when you say stuff like this, you'll feel like I'm a taker, I'm not a helper, I'm bothering people and I need to apologize and I need to be careful and these people don't want to talk to me and I need to just try to get a little bit of time from them. Using this language and talking in this way will impact how you feel on the inside. It will make you less confident, less secure. So first of all, just stop using this language if you ever use this. There's no reason to ever apologize, especially in business-to-business selling. You represent your company, you're contacting another company, and you're seeing if there's a need and an opportunity to do business. There's nothing to apologize for. You definitely want to be respectful of the prospect's time. I like asking, have I caught you in the middle of anything? That's respectful. That's not saying, oh, I'm sorry to bother you. I won't take too much of your time. It's okay to be respectful, but you don't need to use weak language and apologize. And when you say, oh, you know they're busy, that means that what you have doesn't offer value. Let's take a step back, actually, and picture this scenario. Let's say that you find a wallet on the ground and there's a bunch of people around you talking in the middle of conversations. Would you be scared to give that wallet, to try to find the owner of that wallet in the people that are around you that are strangers to you, by the way, and they're talking and busy? Most likely you would not, because you know that wallet has so much value to the person that owns it, and it's so important. And so you would not say, oh, I know you're busy right now, I'm sorry. I'd only take 2 seconds of your time. I have this wallet here. No, you wouldn't say that. You would barge right in and say, oh my gosh, guys, is one of this yours? And you would be a lot more confident. And you're confident because you know that what you have is of value and important to the person that needs it. And that's the way you need to view your prospect. And again, your value awareness and viewing yourself as a helper will help with this. When you aren't aware of the value you offer and you don't view yourself as a helper, you view yourself probably as a taker and a product pusher, that's when you start to use this weak language. Really, honestly, if you do the other things, like become more value aware and view yourself as a helper, you will naturally stop using this language. You'll just stop. You won't have to work on this task. But before you get there, you can just force yourself to notice when you're saying these things and stop using this language. So sales affirmations, you may be familiar with the concept of affirmations. Maybe this might be one of the things you might hear today that you find silly. But affirmations are basically positive statements that remind you of something strong about you or your life, or strong about something, right? They are a statement that's affirming something that's true, and usually they're used for something that's positive, right? So you can use these in any area of your life, just for self-help or improving your mental outlook, but we're talking about selling here, right? So we want to become a more mentally strong salesperson. So putting a sales spin on this regarding sales affirmations, these would be affirmations that help you feel more confident and strong and clear. And when you're selling, what you can do is find certain statements that increase your confidence, decrease self-doubt, make you maybe view yourself more as a helper, and improve your value awareness. So the real easy thing about this is that what we've talked about so far in terms of your consultative sales message can be used as sales affirmation. For example, your value points. Like if you help someone to decrease the amount of time it takes to do something in their organization, then you know that there are a lot of companies out there that are wasting time. So that's an affirmation for you that you can think about when you're prospecting, because you can think, you can realize, I am helping companies to save time. And there are companies out there that are wasting time. And there are companies that need my help. So when it's time to pick up the phone, that type of affirmation can decrease your reluctance. It can improve your confidence. By the way, it can also make it more clear for you what you need to say, because your value is at the front of your mind. So, by the way, you could use your pain points in the same way, the pain points you help to resolve. You could use a name drop example. A name drop example is an example of a customer you've helped. So when you start to get insecure because people aren't answering your call and returning your emails, and you feel like, God, nobody needs what I sell, what's going on here? You can think about your name drop example, because that's a real example of someone you helped or your company helped, and they had some really great benefits from using your product. So when you start to have low belief in what you sell, think about a real example of someone that you helped, and that might give you a little confidence when it's time to pick up the phone. You could even think about your product. Now, not necessarily what your product does and its features and whatnot, but when we talk about your product, we want to think about ways that you're different. So ways that you're different and better than the competition, or ROI that you can help to deliver. Real interesting stuff about your product that sets you apart from the competition could be a sales affirmation. So when you think about those things, that can make you feel better about calling and make you have a better mental outlook. The really nice thing about using your consultative sales message as your affirmations is that it puts your message at the front of your mind. So you're using that to become more clear, more mentally strong and positive about what you're trying to accomplish, and your message is right there in the front of your mind because that's what you're using and thinking about. So then when someone picks up the phone call, you're less likely to forget what you need to say. So it's kind of like a double whammy type of tactic there. In terms of implementing this type of tool or tactic, you could basically put some affirmations on a piece of paper. If it's your sales message that you're using, should probably already be on a piece of paper. You could put your affirmations on a wall, in your office, or in your cube. You could look at it when you start your day, when you're, to remind yourself of all the great things that you have to offer and sell, and why your clients will want to talk to you when you reach out to them. So you could use it when you start your day, or you could look over it, your affirmations, from time to time when it's either time to make calls or in between calls or whatnot. So everything we've talked about to this point is kind of like sales tips and tactics, relating to sales. There's some non-sales things that you can do for improving your mental outlook. Nothing revolutionary here, just giving you some ideas. But meditation is one of the best things that you can do to improve your mental clarity and strength. Yoga, reading, recreational reading, or even just reading related to your job or your business. But when you're selling, you could be moving 100 miles an hour, so many hours a day, looking at a computer screen, whatnot. It can be really good for your mind to take a break and read and just kind of change gears. I don't know if you have time to do that during your day. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's very productive to take a break when you can, if possible. But reading at night to slow down your thoughts and clear your mind so you can get a good night's sleep. And regarding taking a break, I'm personally a firm believer in taking naps strategically. This is a 10 to 15-minute nap, probably no more than 15 minutes. And it kind of takes a little bit of skill because it's very easy to, some people cannot only take a 10-minute nap because they end up sleeping for an hour and a half. If you go beyond 10, 15 minutes, you go into a deeper level of sleep, and then that becomes counterproductive because you're losing time by taking a nap, and then when you wake up, you're going to have a negative impact on your level of energy. If you're able to manage it to where you can take a 10-minute nap and you have the skill needed to accomplish that, it's the equivalent of rebooting your system. So, if you're fresh in the morning and, in the afternoon you're starting to be less productive mentally, sometimes you can take a nap and you will be more productive after that nap. Exercise is one of the best ways to relieve stress and get juices flowing, get more blood flowing to your brain. What better way to improve your mental strength of your brain than to get more blood flowing to it? Exercise releases endorphins. Some people get stressed and go to the bar. Probably one of the worst things you could do, in my opinion, is go drink to relieve stress. I personally think if you're stressed, the best thing you could do is go exercise. Walking, if you don't have time to exercise or a place to go exercise, walking is one of the best ways to improve your mental strength and mental fortitude. The nice thing about walking is you can do it anywhere, whether you work at home or work in an office. Unless it's raining, you can find a way to take a break and just take a walk. You can treat your walks one of two ways. Either you use it as a mental break and think about anything but selling, or there have been some very famous and very successful people that have been known to take walks daily, and they use that to get the creative juices flowing related to their business. So you could use it as time to think about the opportunities you're working on and strategize what you're going to do to improve those new projects or improve your efforts or improve your sales activities. And you can incorporate walking at different times of the day. So maybe you do it after lunch, maybe you do it in the morning before you go to the office, maybe you do it in the evening. So just some ideas there.